Hey, Ellie, I'm going to take my daughter over to your house, so make sure to take good care of her. Ellie, could you please answer me when I text you? Sorry, I was getting ready to leave and left my phone in the other room. What do you mean you're bringing Julia over to my house? Well, I had no idea about this, but apparently she doesn't have school today. Because it's the school's 50th anniversary after its establishment. She's saying that she needs lunch. But I've already scheduled lunch with the girls. You know what I'm trying to say. No, I really don't. Well, I've been longing for this day for a really long time. I mean, who wouldn't? It's a buffet with cake and all kinds of sweets. So what I'm going to ask you to do is to take my daughter out for lunch and look after her until I come back. I'm sorry for not being able to help, but I have a shift at work in an hour. So I won't be able to look after Julia today. What? Well, that's too bad, because I already sent Julia on her way to your house. What? I am telling you I can't look after her for today. I am literally about to leave. You say work, but it's literally a part-time job, isn't it? It's not like you're going to keep that job forever, so you shouldn't feel bothered about taking a day off. I need to go because my contributions to the family savings are necessary to keep up with the level of living that we currently have. But you don't even have kids to feed. Haven't you heard from your brother that he moved jobs quite recently? He's starting as an entry-level employee, so his salary has gone down since his last job. But that doesn't change the fact that you two don't have kids, right? I'm sure you don't spend nearly as much as I do having to feed my kids. Look, I'm sure you could manage to take one tiny day off of your low-paying job. It's not just the money. If I suddenly take a day off out of nowhere, then it might ruin my image from my boss and colleagues. Seriously? I'm starting to feel bad for you, honey. You have to act like a goody two-shoes at your own workplace? I'd suffocate if I were ever to have to work at a place like that. I mean, not that I'd ever know how you feel since I married an elite engineer at a mega tech company. If you feel bad for me, then it would really help for you not to leave your child over at our house so often. Why are you getting so worked up? Do you hate Julia or something? Of course not. Julia is an amazing girl. Then why are you complaining? I'm just letting my infertile sister-in-law have a taste of what it's like to raise a child, since she can't have one of her own. This is all out of the kindness of my heart. Why don't you show a little more appreciation for my efforts to make you feel better about yourself? Wow. And I don't want to be the one to tell you this, but you really did let our family down when we found out that you couldn't have kids. I mean, George is the only boy in the family, so he would have been our only hope to continue our bloodline. But thanks to you, he failed his mission. So I'm letting you prove your worth to the family by giving you a job. Be grateful. Such a useless wife. I feel so bad for poor George. We both know that you're just using me to your advantage because you don't want to do the work yourself. Oh, please. Look, as I said at the beginning of this conversation, I can't take care of Julia today. So just call her back to your house. No can do. I've sent her over and that's final. I'm right about to step out of the door, so she won't be able to unlock the door until I come home. Take good care of her. How could you be so irresponsible? Wouldn't it be irresponsible to abandon your niece and leave for work? Which is more important, your niece or your job? It's not a matter of which is more important to me. Before even discussing anything, she's your own daughter, isn't she? then take responsibility for the life that you created yourself. My husband is out on a business trip right now. I'm taking care of my daughter all by myself. Can't I go on a little lunch break and have a little bit of fun with my friends? I wouldn't mind at all if it were once in a few months. You send Julia to our house without notice 2 or 3 times every month. If I could, then I would send her over every week. You know, I don't get much alone time when my husband is in town, so it's my chance to have quality time by myself. Julia is always bothering me and chains me down from having my alone time. Seriously? Even if that thought came to your mind, you shouldn't say that aloud as a mother. Is it really my fault that I'm tired of her, though? Even my own mother-in-law became cold all of a sudden when she found out that my baby was going to be a girl and not a boy. She left in the middle of the gender reveal. I guess everyone wants a boy so that their bloodline continues on. You haven't told Julia about that story, have you? I'm not that bored. I have more to do than tell stories to my kid. Thank God. But seriously, though, ever since that girl was born, all that's changed is that I have more chores to take care of, and that's it. You know, if I'd known that it was going to be a girl, then I probably wouldn't have given birth. If she wasn't here, then I would have tons of time to go out partying like when I was single. I can't believe you just said all of that. How could God ever allow someone like this to become a mother, and not me? I think God chose not to make you a mother so that you could babysit my kid. I hope you have fun with Julia. Well then, I'm sure she'll be there soon, so take good care of her. She hasn't eaten lunch yet, so make sure to give her some. Oh, and as a matter of fact, feed her some dinner, too. Thanks so much, XOXO. How many times do I have to tell you that I have work today? Well, it's not like I can change my plans this suddenly. I'll text you when I'm coming home, so make sure to take Julia home by then, all right? Well then, see you. Wait, Haley! George! Haley did it again. She just sent Julia over and left.
What's the problem with that?
You know that I have work today. And she won't even read my texts or answer my calls, so I think she has me on mute right now. Could you please call her and convince her?
Convince her to what? If she had to make Julia come over, then wouldn't that mean that she had a valid reason to do so?
I mean, if you consider lunch with her friends as a valid reason.
Haley's been really busy taking care of her house and raising Julia. Why don't you cooperate a little and just let her have some fun once in a while?
Really? Once in a while? She's been sending her child over to us without notice over and over again for the past few months. I get that we all need a break once in a while, but that doesn't mean that she gets to disregard our needs whenever she wants.
2 or 3 times a month counts as once in a while. And you can't give birth to a child of our own anyways. You'd never understand how difficult it is to do her job as a mother. So why don't you cooperate a little and take some weight off of her shoulders?
All right. Then why don't you take a day off from work and come take care of her?
Are you dumb or something? I'm taking care of an infertile, useless wife like you. I'm working a job that I don't even like for you. If you want to talk back to me, then I suggest that you do so after you start earning more than me with your part-time job.
The only reason that I can't make more money than I already do is because you want to qualify for the dependency deduction policy. If you would allow me to, then I would be making more by now.
Yeah. You can make all the excuses that you want. That doesn't change the fact that you'll never make more money than me. As a matter of fact, since you can't even give birth, the only way that you can make yourself useful is to do the work around the house.
Oh, so that's all I am to you? Seriously?
If you haven't noticed by now, I've been going through a lot after changing jobs. I don't have time for your nonsense. So why don't you solve some of your own problems on your own? I'm sure even your useless self will be able to do it.
Why do you have to word it like that?
Whatever. I don't have time for you. Just do whatever Haley's asking you to do. Think of it as my sister blessing you with an opportunity to get to feel like you're raising a child of your own.
You sound exactly like your sister right now.
That's great. I have to get back to work, so don't contact me until I tell you to. And also, excessive complaining is one of the top reasons for divorce, so watch out. You barely make any money with your job right now, and you don't have any savings. On top of that, you can't even have kids. No guy would want you, and you wouldn't be able to sustain yourself, so watch your mouth when you talk to me.
How could you say that to your own wife?
The only reason you're still my wife is because you're obedient. So I suggest that you shut your mouth and listen to my sister. Or else I'm gonna lose any reason to keep you around. Besides, Julia's a very calm and unproblematic kid. You probably won't even notice that she's there.
But...
I'm done with this conversation.
Why won't you bother to listen to me? I had to tell my boss that I couldn't show up last week, too. I'll lose my job if I keep doing this. George? Hey, Ellie, what are your plans for the 15th to the 22nd of next month? I just have work like always. Wait, you have work for the whole week? Wow, I could never work like a slave like that. I don't have to go every day, but I still have to show up for a couple extra days to make up for the days I took off to look after your daughter. See, I told you that you could make it work. Well then, I guess that means that you'll be able to make things work for next month too, then. What do you mean by make things work? The truth is, I'm gonna go on a family trip with my parents and my brother. A family trip? Yep, we're going overseas. I just finished renewing my passport today. Wait, then why can't you just take your daughter with you? Why would I take my daughter on the family trip? What do you mean? My family is me, my brother, and my parents. No one else counts as family. What? But she's your own daughter. We can't take a kid everywhere we go. Besides, I want to go to bars and parties during the night. And how am I going to hook up with anyone if there's a kid with me? I'm way too young and good-looking for guys to leave alone. That's your reason for leaving your daughter behind with me? What do you think your husband is going to say about that? It doesn't matter. He's always away on business trips anyway. I just tell him that you're constantly asking me if you can have Julia over, since, you can't have children of your own. Why would you lie about that? Thanks to my explanation, my husband doesn't have a doubt in his mind that Julia always stays over at your place out of mutual agreement. But I've never begged you to let me have Julia over before. So, you should really fix your attitude. You'd never understand how it feels to be a mother anyway. The only way that you can make yourself worth anything is to work for me. So I suggest that you do that. The only way to make myself worth anything? It's already been decided that we're going on the trip. So just give up and be prepared to take care of her for a week. Whatever. Fine. I'll be sure to prepare really well for that. We're about to go to the airport in George's car. I sent Julia on her way to your house, so take good care of her. I mean, George would throw you right away if you don't, so it's not like you have a choice. I never would have expected my brother marrying an infertile woman to be this useful. There's no need for him to throw me away. I've already divorced him. What? What do you mean you've already divorced him? I turned in the necessary papers, so now we're officially divorced. I haven't felt this free in so long. I don't understand. George is saying that he has no idea what you're talking about. He's been using a signed divorce paper to blackmail me into doing what he wants me to. The same thing has been going on for a while, and it was starting to get annoying. So I just signed my part of the papers and turned them in. That doesn't count. He was just joking. Since when do people sign divorce papers as a joke? And no matter what you say it is, if you sign an official paper, then it automatically possesses power. I wanted to get the divorce done anyway, so I don't think there's an issue at all. So what if you do get divorced? You're just a useless part-time worker who doesn't have money or any skills. You wouldn't make it through a single month without George. I'll be fine. I was just officially hired full-time by the place that I was working part-time at. Wait, full-time? You got a job? Yep. I've already finished moving out of the house thanks to the tiny amount of savings that I had left. I'll be living in the company's dorm from now on, so your brother won't ever have to see me anymore. I have a job in my own place now, so I don't need him anymore. I mean, the legal procedures are complete, so we're legally strangers anyway. Wait, you already left your house? Then who's gonna look after Julia while I'm gone? You don't have to worry one bit about Julia. She's meeting up with someone who can take way better care of her than a complete stranger like me, right about now. She doesn't have any family nearby other than you. Of course she does. Someone who cares about her well-being more than you ever could. You know, the one last family member that isn't with you right now. You're bluffing. There's no way. That one last person is somewhere in Asia right now. There's no way he could just fly back here. In fact, he already told me that he wasn't coming back home until the end of this month. Well, I guess there was a change in plans because he told me that he took a paid leave and flew back here. What? But he never told me anything about that. Do you think you can just make him come back because you can't take care of Julia? How irresponsible are you? Me? Through the eyes of anyone who has a normal thought process, you're obviously the one who's irresponsible here. I'm not irresponsible. Well, I think your husband disagrees with you. Deeply. What's that supposed to mean? Well, I explained every single detail about what's been happening between us regarding Julia to your husband. Like, every single detail? Yep. Wait, how on earth do you know my husband's number? Remember the New Year's party that we had with the whole family? Yeah. Well, I asked him for his contact details during that party. You know, since I'd been looking after Julia for quite a while. I just thought that it would be good to have both of your contacts in case there was any type of emergency. At the time, I thought that your husband was just the same as you and your brother. And that he was fine with making me take care of your daughter as a way to patronize me for being infertile. But after you told me that he didn't know that I was being forced to do this, I decided to take a chance and reach out to him, to tell him what was really going on. Wait, so how much does he know? Everything there is to know. The fact that I'm not willingly taking care of his daughter, and that you've been forcing me to do your job as a mother, even on days when I should really be at work. I also told him in great detail about how you, your mother, and your brother have changed completely after finding out that I won't be able to have kids. The way that you all would use me like a maid, saying that that's the only thing I'm good for? You're joking. Nope. And I got a very long and sincere apology from him after telling him all of this. He apologized for believing everything that you told him instead of making sure for himself. My husband apologized to you? Yep. And after I told him that I'd made dinner for Julia many times but hadn't received any money for it, he handed me a pretty large sum of money,
saying that it was for any unpaid compensation and expenses.
What? He shouldn't be paying a single penny to you. The money that he earns belongs to our family. Give it back.
Why don't you tell that to your husband? I'm sure the two of you will be having a long talk about money after this. I've heard that figuring out the whole thing about child support can be a hassle.
Wait, what do you mean, child support?
Well, I mean, you have children and you're getting divorced, so there will be some child support that you're going to have to pay.
Divorce? What do you mean, divorce? This is your fault. My husband divorced me and took my child. He took everything from me. He's even saying that I'll have to pay him child support. What are you gonna do about this? He was the best option that I was ever going to find.
What do you mean it's my fault? It sounds like all of this is the result of your own actions.
Shut up. I've already told George, so he's going to have a long talk with you about this.
I mean, I would love to have a long talk with George, but I've already blocked him, so that won't be happening.
Wait, you blocked him?
Yep. I just thought it would be easier for me to have my lawyer do everything, so I just sent him my lawyer's number and blocked him after that. Even though the divorce is done, we still have to discuss terms about how to divide the assets that we own and things like that. Besides, I'll be suing him for all of the verbal and mental harassment that he's dealt me about being infertile. So I'm gonna need a lawyer anyways.
Wait, do you seriously think that you're in a place to be suing other people? Because you're dead wrong. We should be suing you, if anything.
Well, I'm suing you along with your brother.
Why?
Do you not remember the countless times that you made me go through physical labor against my will?
What physical labor?
The physical labor of taking care of your daughter while you were out having fun. I'm not sure about how much I'll be able to get from you on this, but no one's getting away unbothered.
Do you know what you're doing? I might get divorced from my husband. I won't be able to pay anything. Everything was going perfectly until you ruined it.
Your own actions are what took away the trust that you once had from your husband. And I can say that with confidence because I can tell how deeply your husband loves your daughter, unlike you.
What am I supposed to do now? I finally found someone who earns tons of money and isn't home most of the time. He was perfect.
He told me that he was going to have you pay him back.
Pay him back what?
All of the money that you spent for yourself when it was really meant for Julia.
Oh no, please stop him.
Why?
Well, I kind of lied about some of the expenses that I said were for Julia's school clubs and other fees. And I used it to go out for lunch and buy things for myself.
Great! I'll be sending a screenshot of what you just said to your husband.
No! Wait, I'm just kidding!
You told him that she was on the soccer team, volleyball team, swim team, and chess club, right? I can't wait until he finds out that Julia's only on the chess club, and that she never needed equipment for any sport. You took pictures of her during tryouts for those teams, and you're still using those pictures to lie, right? He's saying that he'll take every single cent and every single lie into account, and figure out how much he'll be suing you for.
But my perfect plan!
Look, I'm sure every parent has their ups and downs. But it's just wrong to see you use your own child to your advantage to get some extra money. That's just not acceptable. I'll be handing our whole conversation to your husband, so be prepared.
Wait, please! Aren't you my older sister? I'm begging you, don't make things worse. Ellie, I can't go on a trip like this!
Haley and her husband ended up getting divorced as warned, and as you could probably have guessed, her husband got the rights to Julia. After finishing the legal process, I heard that Julia moved to another country with her father. As announced, I sued my ex-husband and his sister for compensation. They both ended up losing against me and tried to rely on their parents for money. But they just ended up getting ridiculed by their parents and kicked out of their house. I guess I know where they got their amazing personalities from now. As of right now, I don't know or care about what the two are doing or where they are.